What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another FPL Q&A live stream here on the FPL Today channel. Thank you so much for everyone joining the chat already. Good response for so early on. A lot of people putting comments in the chat. As far as what I'm drinking today, it's actually just Pepsi, because it was the Christmas party last night and I'm still feeling a bit rough. So, you know, I drank more than I should have. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, we of course only have one day between last game week, which finished on Sunday, and next game week, which starts on Tuesday. So we've not got much time to make our decisions and make our transfers. Before we look at the chat, just so I can fall behind it a bit, because, you know, I don't like to be up to date on the chat. I managed to get 62 points for last game week, which is above the average of 43 by 19, which is decent. Highest points was 109. Game week rank, I was in the 521,000, and then overall I'm on 879 points. Overall rank is now at 184,227. So I'm continuing to climb, I'm continuing to improve my ranking. As you can see, if we look at my team, got a lot of points in defence from the likes of Nick Pope, Otamendi, who came through with a goal and some bonus points. We got Carl Norton with a clean sheet. In midfield, we only really had Mohamed Salah show up. Everyone else kind of disappointing. As well as up front, Harry Kane did finally return, and of course I put the captain's armband on Eden Hazard. So yeah, as soon as I take the captain's armband off Kane, he of course scores a brace. But we did get some points from Tammy Abraham as well, who managed to get an assist. And then for my bench, well, only Carroll played, so that's a bit worrying as far as rotation risk going into this game week. For instance, I feel like Salah may be dropped this game week. Will Eden Hazard be dropped? Potentially. Ramsey is now a game time risk. I've just brought him in for Pogba. So yeah, Firmino I'm hoping will definitely play though, because he was rested, I believe, at the beginning of Liverpool-Everton fixture. Not too sure about resting so many players for a derby game, Liverpool-Everton. It's not really the kind of fixture I would be resting people in. But that is what happened. So we have Thomas McCarthy in the chat, Amit Patel, Florence Sandu, Another Hoops, Bill X. How are you, everybody? Hope you're all good. Amit Patel straight in with the question. Replacement for Ramsey below 8 million. Now, if I actually have a look, I don't know, to be honest. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. I mean, you've got, of course, the likes of Grosh and Richarlison, but most people have them. Shaqiri isn't doing too bad at the moment. If you're really looking to save money, and I've said this multiple times, Sermon isn't a bad one. At 4.8 million, he's quietly returning points. Son is a differential pick. He has been scoring points recently, 16 points and 7 points. So if he can keep playing, and to be honest, it kind of looks like he's being rotated a bit, but he is getting game time, he could be a decent shout for you, with Spurs potentially coming back into a form now, so they might start performing well. So those are the ones I would look at if I was you, to replace Aaron Ramsey if you must get him out your side. I'll probably wait and see what happens with him this game week before I make any decision on Aaron Ramsey though. As far as my... Wow, 35 people watching. We've jumped up in people viewing very quickly, almost up to 38 now. Show your cup opponent, JNO. Yes, that is something. I did qualify for the cup, of course, which is good. Last year I didn't get into the cup, but my cup opponents, we're going up. So I am playing whoever this is. At the moment, his overall rank isn't the greatest, and points wise, I'd fancy my chances to beat him unless I had a really, really bad game week. And then his team for game week 16, I am going to be playing someone with Butland and Pickford in goal. Both not common picks. That's a lot of money, I feel, to be spending on goalkeepers as well. He spent 10 million on goalkeepers. He's got Mertesacker, Hegazi and Aki, Fabregas, Ali, Moy and De Bruyne, Mooney, Chicharito and Jesus, Yaya Toure. So this looks like, no offence if this is someone that is still playing, total of 4 transfers. His squad value has dropped. I don't think this person is still active. So ideally I should be winning this game quite easily. At least that's what I would hope. So at least I know I should be getting to the next round of the Cup. If I don't, then something's gone very wrong with the game week score I get. Of course, with rotation though, it could be one crazy week where he just happens to have the right players to beat me. David Knight is in the chat. How are you, David? Another Hoops has gone for Son in replace of Ramsey. So Amit Patel, another Hoops, has definitely got his pick for that replacement. Who do I think will get rested out of Sterling, Salah or Hazard? To be honest, all of them could be rested. I wouldn't say there's any one of them that are more likely. I reckon Salah is very important to Klopp. Of course, because right now he's on absolute fire. If we have a look at the amount of times they've been rested in the past, Salah has been rested once since game week 5. So he might get another rest though, because let's be fair, it's a very quick turnaround of fixtures. As far as Sterling, again, last time he was rested was game week 10. So to be honest, I'm tempted by Ramsey for Sterling. Potentially. And then who was the other one? It was Hazard, wasn't it? Again, he was rested for game week 14. But otherwise, generally playing. But the fact that he's been rested so recently worries me that he may get rested again. So I'd say Salah's the one that, even if he was rested, he could come on and score. We saw it last time he was rested. Everyone was panicking about it. He only had 23 minutes played and he got 13 points. So Salah can be an explosive sub that still gets you that point return. So I think Sterling will play. I think Hazard may get rested. And I'd say Hazard is the one that, if he gets rested, is more likely not to return good points. Who do you captain, Hazard or Kane? Well, I didn't do a great job of predicting that, who the best person to captain was last time, did I? So I'm not sure I'm the best person to be asking. Potentially, I would say stick with Kane. But of course, I've been saying that for ages and always been wrong. And if I say it now, I'll probably still be wrong. So I don't know. I would, if I'm looking at who they're playing, Spurs and Chelsea. Spurs have Brighton Hove Albion and Chelsea have Huddersfield. I'd say Huddersfield defence are worse, but they have recently had a decent result. Tottenham are at home, so Kane hasn't got the best record at home. So maybe Hazard if he was going to start, but I'm not confident of him starting. Whereas with Kane, at least you know he's most likely going to get the full 90 minutes. So I'd probably go Kane just for game time security. We've got Mats B. Peterson in the chat. How you doing, mate? David Knight on the Fanta Fruit Twist. Are we all having soft drinks tonight? Was it one of those weekends? Byrie Beckford drinking the same drink as David Knight. 85 for Florence Sandu for the last game week. That's a great score. JP43. I'm at 2 million. Do you think I could get into top 500k or 100k? Well, look, I was 1.7 million ranked at some point. If we actually have a look at my history, I think it's in points. View game week history. Right here, game week 5, I was at 1.7 millionth in the world. And then slowly I've crept up. Did have a drop there, had a drop there, had another little drop there. But as you can see, I'm now in the top 200k, and hopefully I'll keep rising. I'd say if you're at 2 million now, top 100k might not be within reach, potentially. But top 500k, I think you could definitely do. I think you could definitely achieve that, JP43. 66 points for Thomas McCarthy, Alex Howlett 69, Captain and Kane, Ishvalur, Lukaku 2 assists, 52 points for Jeff Holt. Didn't see you in the chat, Jeff. How you doing? 65 for Maria. It's never good when you're getting beaten in Fantasy Premier League by the misses. Gordon Gilbody just got in. Beers outside, so don't need the fridge. That's what I used to, when I had a patio. The beers just used to go on the patio, and they'd be freezing cold. Bill X, suggestions for captaincy. In a game week where it is so tough to figure out who is going to start, I would look to captain someone with pretty guaranteed game time. As far as I'm concerned, Lukaku against Bournemouth, that's pretty guaranteed game time, Lukaku. Man City against Swansea, if you have Sterling, he seems pretty nailed on. I've said that before and then been wrong, but he looks like he starts when he can. It doesn't look like there's much certainty around some of the other clubs, like Liverpool. You could maybe go for an Arsenal player, because a lot of their players haven't been playing in Europe, so that means they're less likely to rotate. You could go for a really wild pick of someone at a team that aren't going to rotate, like say an Everton against Newcastle. My money though would be to put it on KANE, purely because I just feel like KANE will definitely start. I know it's at home, I know he doesn't do that great at home, but I just don't. I look at the other teams and I'm worried that they'd rest the player or he wouldn't start. So it's going to be a hard week to pick the right captain. I can say that for definite. Anyway, Alex Howlett, want Austin, but what do we think about Calvert-Lewin and who should we captain? I've just answered the captain bit. As far as Austin, I always worried that Austin's going to get rested, and I don't know why, because I personally think Austin's a very good Premier League striker, and if I was sure of his game time, he could possibly be my side. As for Calvert-Lewin, he was the one where his underlying stats weren't that great, so I was a bit worried about going him. And we've hit 50 viewers at the moment, so thank you guys so much for the support on the stream, of course. Had to get this. To be honest, I was tempted not to do this stream because I am really hanging, and I'd probably do well to have a good night's rest. But only one day between game weeks, so I had to get this up. As for Calvert-Lewin, yeah, his underlying stats aren't that great, so I'm still withholding my judgment on him. But he is a great price, which is ideal when right now all the points seem to be in midfield, although they weren't necessarily there last week. JNO, remember you said I'd never captain a mid, always a forward. You captain a mid this time and this happens. I think my issue was I saw Salah getting so many points and then Hazard getting so many points. And yeah, I made a move that I generally don't do. And I thought it would work and it didn't. I thought West Ham wouldn't show up and they did. The West Ham side of me was very happy with their performance. But yeah, I got burned for not following my own rule. My FPL Cup opponent, we did just go over that. It is a team called We're Going Up. But it looks like an inactive team. So potentially it could be an easy way for me to go through to the next round of the cup. George King A says Martial will be great. Amit Patel says Son. I believe that's in response to his own question. Ilyas Hussein is in the chat. How are you doing? David Knight's taking out Zaha for Mahrez. He's great form and no Champions League football. Mahrez is starting to look very, very good. I am considering getting him in. Florence Sander went Son before game week 16 and it paid off. It paid off big, mate. Jeff Holt, we both captain Hazard. We both made a mistake, Jeff. PS, how bad is Benteke? Like, I've always looked at Benteke every season and thought this could be his season. He's not doing too great, is he? Let's be fair to him. Ishvaluson has come in for Alderweireld, who is injured. Alex Howlett thinks Benteke will come good, just shouldn't take pens. Benteke has all the stats to be a great Premier League striker. By stats, I mean like his skills and his build and all that kind of stuff. But just it isn't working for him at the moment, is it? Thomas Carthy, I have no chance in Cup. Why? Have you got someone really difficult? Karen Bardouage, should I replace Aguero? If you're fed up with the rotation, I would definitely replace Aguero. The reason I don't have a Man City striker is purely because of that rotation. I can't be bothered with it anymore. Although, to be honest, I've now got a Firmino who got rotated as well. Yushfula, all these inactives get in, but hard-working players don't. To be honest, 4+ million people got into the Cup this year, I think. So to be fair, I think most people still playing should have got into the top 4 million. Tiger Rage's team, we've got Fabianski, Elliott, Ward, Otamendi, Christensen, Kiko Firmino and Mbemba, Salah, Richarlison, Hazard, Sterling, Loftus-Cheek, Morata, Kane, Calvert-Lewin. Morata looked pretty poor against West Ham, to be fair, which is worrying me. It's just there's so little option up front. Fabianski's fine, Elliott. I'm hoping Elliott comes back into the first team because he was doing all right. Ward's okay, Otamendi, Christensen, Kiko Firmino, and Mbemba you could probably change. Salah's good, Richarlison's good, Hazard's good, Sterling's good. Loftus-Cheek isn't bad as your cheap midfielder. Morata and Calvert-Lewin I'm not too sure about yet. I mean, Morata has looked at times like the best option for your second striker, but he looked really poor against West Ham. Yushfula says Salah will start the next game. And mentioned when he came off the bench and scored twice. David Knight, I'm good. Cheers, by the way. What's your actual name? My actual name, David Knight, is Jonathan. My government name is Jonathan. J Rock, what's up, JNO? I'm good, J Rock. How are you? Florin Sandy went for Kane. Don't rub it in, Florin. Don't rub it in. I wish I'd stuck with Kane. I'd have had a great game week score if I'd gone with Kane as captain. TP is in the chat. Will you be streaming on Thursday? Tell you what, let me figure that out for you. If I get my rotor out, I can figure out when the next stream is. Right, this might not even be the correct rotor, so never mind. I don't know. The plan is Thursday, off the top of my head. I've just looked at my rotor and it's not even the correct rotor anyway. I believe I'm off Thursday. As long as I'm not on an early Friday, it should definitely be Thursday. It could possibly be Wednesday, depending on when I finish and what I'm doing Thursday. But I don't know for definite. I will, of course, tweet it out as usual, though. J-Rock, Kane saved his art. The problem is, Kane is a player with great calibre and can get braces. He does it quite often. Is it worth getting in Charlie Austin for Abraham? Let's have a look. Because I still, in my head for some reason, I'm still worried he's a rotation risk. But he might not be. It might just be me worrying about something I shouldn't worry about. Because I have done this before where my brain's just assumed something and run with it. I mean, the fact that he's only played 3 games as a starter in, say, the last 6. I wouldn't rush to bring him in just yet. Just because it seems like with so much rotation around that there's the possibility that he won't actually keep his first team place. TP, I've got someone says we're going up. It's someone inactive in the FPL Cup first round. So I should really go through to the next round. I'd be surprised if I didn't. Replacement for Sacco. Kenny a good option. How many games has Kenny continued to play? Because for me it's all about, if you're going for cheap players, you just want to be sure they're going to play. You don't necessarily need someone that is going to get great points. But I mean, if you look at that, he's very nailed on. So if you think Everton are going to get clean sheets, which they could potentially pick up some, Kenny's a nice cheap option, which would be a good swap for me for Mbemba, to be fair. You've got Holgate as well, slightly cheaper. Only started the last 3. Kenny seems like the more nailed on option. Martina. Again, Kenny seems the more nailed on option there. So I would say a move to Kenny is a decent shout. What am I drinking? I'm only drinking Pepsi because I'm hungover. Yeah, at Christmas party last night, I drank way too much, and I'm not feeling 100% if I'm perfectly honest with you all. But that's my own fault, self-inflicted. So Jeff Holt rolled a dice for captain, and he's gone for Kane. Ayush Falu, I'm travelling to Australia tomorrow. This is my last stream until mid-Jan. Oh, Ayush, that's upsetting. It'll be a shame not to see you until Jan, but I hope you have a great Christmas, of course. Australia seems like a lovely place to go and have Christmas, so I hope you have a great time, and we'll look forward to your triumphant return in January. Jeff, Marie is clearly more hardcore than we are. That's why she's still on the alcohol. Even Chowdhury, will it be wise to transfer out Azpilicueta and Elliott for Jones and Gomez of Watford for a hit? I have Krul and Elliott as goalkeepers. I don't know, to be fair, because if Elliott comes back in and you've taken Elliott out, then you've got the same issue that I have right now of Elliott not playing. I potentially would go, because right now you're covered no matter which of the goalkeepers plays, whereas Jones definitely would be an improvement for me on Aspi, purely because Man United are just very good at getting clean sheets. Alan Arjudinovic, is Rooney for Abraham a good transfer? He returned points last 2 game weeks. He is. Wayne Rooney's a better player than Abraham, more likely to return points at the moment, so I'd say that's a good move. Any indication of how long Sacco is out for? So let's have a look, shall we? What I can tell is there is no return date. He's currently being assessed. Experience says that this kind of injury is means player is out for weeks. So I'd say he's going to miss at least the next 3 odd fixtures, I'd say. Desiree Chirija got 49 saved by Otamendi and Silva. Otamendi definitely did good for my game week. J Rock 56 for J Rock, well done. Jamal Rice, Liverpool defenders. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Liverpool defenders aren't too bad. But you conceded against Everton last week, or last game week. Your next fixture is against West Brom. I'd imagine against West Brom you could keep a clean sheet. Bournemouth, you never know what Bournemouth turn up. Arsenal, you probably concede there, I'd imagine. Swansea, you could keep a clean sheet. And then Leicester, I'd imagine Leicester will score a goal. So I'd say maybe 2 clean sheets at the next 5 for Liverpool. We'll see if I'm right about that. J Rock, Salah or Kane for him as captain. Josh 96, 71 points this week, saved by Captain Kane, Otamendi and Burnley clean sheets. Also disregard Salah points these days unless I captain. Jamal Rice, Kane will score 4. Well, I'm captaining him this week, so I hope he does. Another Hoops looking to upgrade Elliott. He's thinking Pickford. I like the look of Fabianski. And then if you're going to spend 5 million... I don't know, I just feel like if you're going to go over the 5 million range, then just go De Gea. Florence Sandu considering Austin. Could you captain a defender? Well, I once said I'd never captain midfielders, and I've done that. So, potentially, one day I might captain a defender, but just... unless they're going to score a goal or get an assist, and the likelihood of that happening is always low, 1 goal from the other team completely wipes out their points. What do you think of Vardy? Vardy is a decent shout. If he was a little bit cheaper, as the main man at Leicester, I would consider him. But because he's just the price he's at, I kind of feel like there's better options out there. TP says Austin won't be dropped. If that is true, then Austin is a decent shout for a cheap striker. Byrie Beckford, despite his fixtures, I'd say Southampton could score against Chelsea and Spurs. United would be the one that I wouldn't really fancy him against. TP's got a guy ranked in the top 500k in the Cup. That's unfortunate, but you never know what can happen. I tell you what, I'm very lucky I didn't bring in Coutinho for Pogba. Because, yeah, I was very close to doing that, and then I went Ramsey, because I already had so many Liverpool players. Is it worth keeping keeping Daniels? Charlie Daniels, I mean, the fixtures, I think, aren't great for them. They were really good, but the next three, you've got Man United, Liverpool, Man City. Then you do have West Ham and Everton at home, though. They could potentially keep clean sheet against West Ham. If you can get by with benching him, then potentially you could bench him instead of getting rid of him. But I wouldn't. If there's a defender you've got in mind at the same price, I'd make the move. Another hoops, that's a common thing. You bring someone in, they look in form, and then nothing happens. And it's annoying, but it's one of those things that can happen in FPL. I couldn't decide what to do, so I ended up copying my cup opponent's team. Desiree Tarija, Silent Firmino is not producing. Anish Fakir, JNR, I made the following changes using my 2-3 transfers. Have I made the right moves? Sane and Daniels to Salah and Gomez. Salah is the man to have right now, in my opinion. Gomez is a decent defender. I do like him. I do think he could potentially get assists. So I think Gomez is a good shout. So I do like your 2 transfers there. Elite Gamer, do I bring in Ibra for KANE? I wouldn't if I was you. Not after KANE has finally scored. I mean, who knows? It could be a while before he does it again. But I would keep KANE right now. And if I was going Man United, the only striker I'd bring in, other than Lukaku, would probably be Martial or Rashford. Sorry, just quickly checking some of my football bets. No forward is producing weekly. That's true. To be honest, if you actually think about it, Salah is one of the few players actually producing regularly. It's just hard this year. I don't think there's any player apart from Salah who you can have a lot of faith in. TP, I remember Thursday, Hereford versus Fleetwood. I believe I'm off, as far as I'm aware. So I should be streaming on Thursday. I might do it Wednesday, though. I don't know for definite. Ilyas, I'll play Shaqiri versus Burnley. Just because I think, even with Burnley having probably the better defence, I think Shaqiri's more likely to get points than Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yushfaluz on the light beer. More hardcore than me. I don't think I could handle any alcohol today. Daniels and Moreno out for Cabaselli and Maguire. I mean, Cabaselli and Maguire, not bad shouts. Maguire, especially if Leicester's fixtures are decent, I do like the look of Maguire, especially going forward. Do I think it's too soon to bring in Everton defenders? From David Knight, it all depends. If you are going for the cheap Everton options, then I wouldn't say it's too early, because cheap players are cheap player. If you're looking at the expensive options, then as far as I'm aware, the fixtures, there's no really tough period. There's always decent fixtures somewhere. They never have more than 2 hard fixtures in one. So I wouldn't say it's... I would say now's as good a time as any to bring in an Everton defender. Ilyas is saying, is Alonso worth holding on to? I personally don't think so. I think he isn't going to outscore other defenders who are going to be keeper. By the way, Real versus PSG, who you got? You know what? I fancy PSG to do it. I think, despite the fact their players don't seem to all get along, I just fancy PSG right now to, like, surprise a few people. Maybe time to look at West Ham's defence. I wouldn't do it just yet. I am watching the defence. I wouldn't say there's anyone I'd bring in just yet, purely because, yes, while they were much improved against Chelsea, I still need to see it consistently happen for me to really look that way. But with the double game week, that's definitely something we could potentially do. Yash Falur, we're going up, is going down. He's got the god of FPL. We'll see about that. We'll see. You never know what's going to happen in this game, so I might lose. Will Otamendi be rested? Defenders generally aren't rested as much as attacking players, generally. But this is Pep, Amit Patel, so who knows? Fuller, Company injured. Again, Otamendi can't be rested. If Company's injured, it all depends. If they had options, I think there would be rotation there. But it looks like Man City don't have any options, so there won't be rotation. Okay, so Gordon Gilbody, Daniels or Loughton out. I got 0.7 in the bank. Any ideas? I mean, as far as like defences that could get clean sheets with good fixtures, and how much is Daniels and Loughton? I believe around 5 million, isn't it, for Daniels? Yeah, 5 million for Daniels, and then Loughton is 4.7. So the most you could go up to is 5.7. So you could bring in Monreal. You could, I wouldn't go to Davies, although Davies, of course, as soon as I transfer Davies out, what happens? He gets an assist, 5 points. Would have got a lot more if they had kept a clean sheet. You've got Maguire you could go to, although there's quite a few tough fixtures in the near future. Could get Jones, of course, if Jones is going to start. As far as I can tell, what is being said about Phil Jones returning? He looks like he's fit to play now, so maybe wait a bit before you draft him in, but Jones is a possibility. Other than that, Gomez would save you some money. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'd go Monreal. I think Monreal has good fixtures and is a team capable of getting clean sheets. I know they didn't against Southampton, but the fixtures look decent for Arsenal. Apart from 2 tough fixtures, they've got a nice easy run until the 3rd of February. How you doing, Jan? Nice to see you in the chat. I'm probably going to captain KANE. I've learned from my lesson of not captaining him last week. David Knight, I agree. Without Yushfalu in the chat, it will feel very, very different. Max B. Peterson, select 2 from Kolasinac, Christensen and Otamendi. I'd definitely have Otamendi in there. I'd probably then say Christensen because I like to spend my money in midfield and attack. So Kolasinac is clearly the most expensive one. He's definitely got the underlying stats to suggest he should be scoring more, but he hasn't been. So you're not getting the points from someone that is considerably more expensive. Yesu Picasso, how do you check your opponent's rank? What you can do is if you go to points and you scroll down, you'll see your opponent and you click on his name, and then it will give you game week history and you can see game week rank and overall rank. And as you can see, this guy just has been dropping and dropping. Not a great start and kind of left the game. To be fair, 2015-16 season, his rank was 26,961st. Now, I have no idea if he left the game then or continued playing because he was doing rather well. But this time he's not doing very well and has left the game, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice to have a tough opponent. It would have been nice to have drawn someone like in the community. That would have been quite funny. Your views on Cabaselli on Watford? I'm not going to lie, I haven't looked into Cabaselli that much. Because generally the Watford defence hasn't impressed me. I mean, he did get 8 points in the Spurs game. And then he got clean sheet points in the West Ham and Newcastle games. Got a goal scored in the Everton game. So he has been getting goals scored. Not really assists. and they have been getting some clean sheets, and he's 4.6 million. Is there anything in the underlying stats that makes me think he's worth definitely having? Because Watford as a side aren't the best defensive side. But it's obviously goals he's scoring. And it's both 2 goals have been recent that he's scored. As far as his attempts on goal, he's only got 3 attempts. There's quite a few people with more than that. On target, he's scored the 2 shots he's had on target. They've both gone in. Will that continue? I doubt it. That's not really a return that you see kept up for very long. And then as far as players having more attempts on goal, even if we just focus on attempts on target, Shawcross, Zuma, Zabacosta, Alonso, Otamendi, Baines have all had more shots on target. But generally you don't keep up a shot accuracy rate of 66.7 as a defender, generally. So my view on Kabasele is that he's not done enough to make me look at him as a real option. TP Football Analysis, FPL Today streams without Yush and Siraj, a very boring chat section. Hey, we've still got some other people in the chat. Chaos couldn't make it today, but Chaos is also a great part of the community. We've got yourself, TP, we've got Jeff Holt, we've got so many people, so apologies if I didn't mention your name in that list then, but I know all you guys know who you are, the greats of the chat. As usual, I've got a very irritated nose again. I'm pretty sure I've got a cold. Although my wife keeps telling me, no, you're just hungover. I think I've got both. Will Jones be fit for this game week? It looks like he is. If he'll get selected is another question. Ismail Mayet very happy about Son? Yes, Florence Sandu. Kabasele playing is very important. Ilyas Hussain thinks Damari Gray is a good shout from Leicester. Ayush Valur says, don't captain Kane. Every time you do, he messes up. I have captained him a few times when he has scored. But maybe if I'm captaining him, you know you should go with someone else. Has Damari Gray been scoring FPL points, though? Because if he has, that could be a great shout. Because I bet he's not owned by many people. And I mean, it's 5.3 million. He's got 8 points there, 6 points there. That's good return. Quiet period, but he got 10 points there. He's playing. Didn't start in this Tottenham game, though. So, potentially Gray looks like an option, but I probably won't be looking at him myself just yet. Just because of that one game where he was dropped. David Bold, if you go to your points screen, you can just scroll down on the right. You will then see your cup opponent. It will say cup, it will say the game week, and it will have the name, and then you can click on it and you can see who you're coming up against. Can you explain about the Cup, please, JNO? So basically, the Cup, you have a qualifying round, which was game week 16, which we just had. If you qualified, you will see your opponent on the right-hand side if you scroll down. Now, you have to beat him to go to the next round. And then you just have to keep beating your opponents until you're the winner of the Cup. It's like the FA Cup. It's a knockout competition. You could do badly, but as long as your opponent does even worse, you could carry on in the Cup. Whereas you could have a great game week, but if your opponent has an even better game week, then you're going to get knocked out. And that is how the Cup works. It's just a knockout game instead of playing like a league game where you add up the points overall. Thinking to keep Aguero for Swans in my... I see you playing the Cup, like you're looking at your opponent and seeing who he has. And he's got Aguero. If you are trying to beat someone, I would definitely try and keep the players that could potentially score very well that they have, if you got them as well. Should I sort Courtois to Czech or someone else? I would generally go for a cheaper keeper, because if we look at keepers, apart from David De Gea, none of the keepers that are premium price are really worth that, like, more, that higher expense. Fabianski is outscoring any other goalkeeper that isn't David De Gea at the moment. Forster is 0.5 million cheaper than Courtois and is on the same points. Pope is only 1 point less and he's 4.7. So is Losell. So I would say there's no reason, unless you're getting De Gea, that you should be spending like 5.5 million on a goalkeeper. Czech is still 5.4 and there's plenty of options doing better than him at the moment. A replacement for Moreno, Joe Gomez seems to be a very popular option if you want to swap just straight for another Liverpool defender. Masaka, I'm keeping an eye on Masaka purely because it does look like West Ham, and also, just for the record, Everton could be more defensively solid with their new managers. So I'm having a look at them, but West Ham, of course, have that double game week in game week 22. They will have a blank in game week 21, though, so you don't want to rush bringing them in. Ahmed Hassan, how was the party? The party was lit. I maybe made a fool of myself a couple of times. Had a lot of drink. But yeah, I had fun. It was good. Jeff Holt says his wife Maria wants to thank me for making FPL interesting. That is what I'm here for. That is what I'm trying to do. I want to make it interesting, help people play the game. And yeah, I really think the Fantasy Premier League should pay me, personally. West Ham could be a good shout for defensive assets. Maybe Bonner at 4.3. The fixtures turned really good from game week 18. Just don't load up too much on West Ham before that blank, though. Amit Patel, to be honest, I think if anyone played the full 90 minutes, the game week just gone, and they don't seem an integral part of the team, they might get rested. Ismail Mayer, I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'm working late tomorrow, unfortunately. Jeff Holt has brought in De Gea, expensive keeper for the first time ever. To be fair, you know what? De Gea is worth it. I know I haven't brought him in, but De Gea is worth it. Should I bring in Son for Sane? I mean, right now, Sane isn't returning the points. Son is. Underlying stats-wise, is there any massive disparity between them? Can't even find Sane because he hasn't scored recently, has he? So let me do a comparison, Son against Sane. Okay, so, of course, in the things that would get you FPL points, Son is easily winning. 3 goals, 2 assists, to no goals and 1 assist. But as far as underlying stats, goal involvement, Son is clearly winning, as he would. Minutes per attempt, Son is easily winning. Shot accuracy, Son is easily winning. Attempts, easily winning. Goal attempt. To be honest, there's nothing really that Sane is winning as far as the likelihood of returning points. So I'd say that's a good move at the moment. But Sane could, of course, then suddenly have a really good game week like he has, or sorry, a really good month, which he did do before. He could just be having a quiet spell now, and then he might turn it around. But at the moment, Son is a good transfer in for Sane. Chaos is in the chat. I literally just said he might not be turning up, and then he turns up. Another Hoops, don't want to think about how much Salah is going to cost next season. Had him since game week 1, and for 9 million, it looks like, to be honest, for 9 million, he was a bargain. I believe I got rid of him for 1 game week, which I wish I hadn't done. But yeah, right now, Salah is the man. That points return is just crazy. I went with him because I thought he's cheaper than, was it Mane? And then I thought he would return more points than Coutinho. And so far I'm right, so I'm quite happy about that. Chaos is just outside the top 10k. Well done, Chaos. Should I get Lukaku for Morata? I wouldn't rush out of Morata just yet. But if you are really concerned about his form against West Ham, Man United's fixtures do look very good for the next 5. Bournemouth, West Brom, Leicester, Burnley and Southampton. So it might be worth getting that cover in. If you've already got Hazard, then yes, I'd say Lukaku. If you can bring in Lukaku for Morata, that's a good thing to do. Will me play this game week? At the moment, I don't know for definite. Potential return is the game week date. Late fitness test to come up. But basically the manager says, I think Ben Mee will have a chance to play. Now my issue, of course, with my team is if Ben Mee isn't playing, I don't really want Norton to have to play because he's got Man City. And Mbemba can't play, so I've only really got Monreal and Otamendi. So I potentially need someone in, which means Mbemba to someone like KANE might be a consideration for me. I wouldn't say Lukaku is definitely a better option, but all I'd say is we have to keep an eye on Morata's form after that bad game. The thing is, on the site I use, Premier League injuries, it has me as 50%. How you doing, Michael? Hope you're good. Son or Sane? I'd say Son right now, quite easily. What about Bellerin? Just, he costs a bit more than Monreal. And, like, I feel like if I'm going to spend big money, I'd go Kolasinac. I mean, definitely under consideration. I mean, Mustafi is the one that a lot of people were going for because he was the cheapest. But at the moment, Monreal just seems a lot more consistent. Has been returning points. Has played every single game. Has Bellerin played every single game? Bellerin has played every single game as well. I mean, just at the moment, 0.2 million saved. More points, so I wouldn't look at Bellerin just yet. Chaos did Moreno to Cabaselli and Ramsey to Sterling. Thoughts? Sterling's always got the potential to have a good return. Cabaselli, we just looked at his stats. I don't think he'll continue to score points, but he does start, which is of course important. So I don't think he'll continue to score like he has done recently. How essential is 15 starters? It's either Otamendi for Daniels or Mbemba for me now. Daniels have poor fixtures and Mbemba doesn't start. 1.1 in the bank versus 0.2 would come handy. Upgrading other areas. For me, this is the part of the season where it is essential. And then, of course, there's parts of the season where you can use bench boost and have a lot of players playing 2 games in a game week. At that point, it's essential as well. The reason is, when you have so many rotations, simply having someone come in and give you 2 points can be the difference between your rank, like, especially if that person can score. If you have 4 players all not playing and then your bench has no one that can come on, I'd say it is important to have 4 players on your bench that are playing, because you never know what's going to happen. You could look at the lineups and just be like, what on earth, 4 of my top players have been dropped, and then you've got 2 players who aren't playing on the bench. If you've got 4 players who are playing on the bench, they all get 2 points. That's 8 points. And then if your bench, none of them are playing, that's 0 points. Thomas McCarthy, where is Siraj? I haven't spoken to Siraj, so I don't know where Siraj is. Is it stupid to captain Otamendi as a differential? I wouldn't captain a defender. Like I said, if they don't score and Swansea score 1, that's the clean sheet gone straight away. Thoughts on Graham for Richarlison? I am not going to be losing faith in Richarlison just yet. I'm presuming you're talking about Damari Gray, Tiger Rage. I would stick with Richarlison for now, but that's my look on it. I've answered the Lukaku better option than Morata. I think it's not a definite just yet. You have to kind of wait and see. Just because he's had one bad game, everyone's now panicking about Morata. All these strikers have had bad games. Abdallah said, as far as the Son outscoring Sane, overall, over the long term, to be fair, you're never going to know. It could be it's like a coin toss. They're both good players. They both can return if they're playing well. So I think you just got to make as educated a guess as you can. And right now, Son's underlying stats are just so much better. I'm glad you managed to join us, Chaos. Hit 50 again on the views. This stream is popping. Amir Hajar, it completely depends if you want the certainty of starts of David Silva or the explosive potential of Sterling. Sterling can have a much bigger effect on a game week for you. I personally think even with less game time, Sterling will outscore David Silva over the entirety of the season. For the next three, KANE or Lukaku, I mean, if we have a look at the next three, Bournemouth, West Brom, Leicester, Bournemouth at home, West Brom and Leicester away for Lukaku, whereas Spurs have Brighton, Hove Albion, City and Burnley. Burnley is away, which means Burnley at home, good defence. Man City, you don't know what's going to happen. Brighton, Hove Albion at home. Lukaku has the better fixtures. Bournemouth concede, Leicester concede. West Brom, new manager, but you'd fancy Man United to win. The only thing, Lukaku really is someone that I just don't get along with. But I'd say right now the better option is Lukaku. Just a quick thing, if you haven't had your question answered and I'm behind on the chat, please don't keep answering it because then it just takes me a bit longer to go past them to answer the next question. Will De Bruyne start tomorrow? I don't see why he wouldn't, Ismail. He seems to start every game he's available for. He is a very important player for the team, so I can't see him not starting. Otamendi will play because apparently Stones is injured as well. So I can't see how they can drop Otamendi. Mika Moy, how much value do you have? My team value is shocking, to be fair. I think it's 100 million.1. Yeah, my squad value is awful. However, I think with 1.5, I think it does go up. I think that's how it works. So I think it is higher than 100 million and 1.1, but it's not as high as a lot of people have. Lingard is a fifth midfielder option. He has a good price. I'll be honest with you, I'm almost considering Lingard purely because it's coverage in a big side for a very cheap price, and it is an attacking player, and that kind of coverage could be really good. And he has started the last three, and with 12 and 15, if I'd had him instead of, say, Carlson or Ramsey, I'd have been laughing. Will he continue to start? I mean, Martial has been starting as well. Has Rashford been on the bench? Rashford has had less game time by the looks of it. It's the rotation really worries me. That's the problem. And I know Lingard doesn't look like he's got that much rotation risk. But I feel like as soon as I think someone's nailed on, that's when they get rested. TP, to be honest, I don't think I've ever got past like the 4th or 5th round. It's all luck, really. You just have to get the right opponents. Brett Dyer, Pickford or Pope? When will Heaton return? I'd go with Pope purely because I feel like Burnley goalkeepers seem to get a lot of saves. That might be because a lot of the chances come from areas where keepers can save it. As far as Tom Heaton, potential return is the 1st of January. So he's good for the next month. But after that, you may need to be looking at either bringing in Heaton or finding a new keeper. Amit Patel thinks Trent Alexander-Arnold will be most likely to start over Joe Gomez, which is a shame because I've looked at the underlying stats and a lot of times Gomez has the best numbers of a Liverpool defender. To be honest, you know what? I'd say they're both rotation risks, personally. Any thoughts on Zlatan? I will not be putting Zlatan in because Lukaku is the first team striker. Sell Firmino for Rooney. I don't know what it is, but I've never fancied Rooney in my team. I don't know. There's certain players that when I put them in my team, they just don't seem to perform. Coutinho is one. Rooney is one. Lukaku is one. So, yeah, I kind of had certain players which I kind of look at and just kind of hold back on. It's stupid because me putting them in my FPL side has no effect on their performance at all. Zlatan instead of Lukaku? No, never. I'm telling you, Lukaku is the main striker at Manchester United. The Hereford FC team said they'll play FPL with me next season. Make sure they join the streams, TP. Ismail May is apparently off. See you later, Ismail. Thank you for joining the chat. Price changes tonight. By the looks of it, Otamendi will be going up in price. Calvert-Lewin, Son, Gomez, Ward from Burnley, Rooney and Lingard all look pretty nailed on to go up in price tonight. Another hoops, I am waiting for that FA Cup weekend where you have a lot of people not playing. That would definitely be the time I would play my wild card. As far as Liverpool's penalties, I've seen a multitude of players take them, so I don't know. Salah's taken them, Coutinho's taken them. We know Milner can take a penalty. I've got no idea, David Knight. You do have some people who try and get as few points as possible. Oh, we're over 60 people viewing right now. Stream is on fire. You can get minus points, of course, but I think most people that try and get less points still play by the rules, but try and pick players to get like red cards and stuff like that. As for Laqueta, I don't think you have to get rid of him. I know he hasn't returned as much as people have been expecting. But there are teams that are more likely to get clean sheets than Chelsea. Jeff Holt suggesting a Huddersfield player, defender. Oh, a striker, in fact. Let me have a look at him. There's nothing about the Huddersfield side, though, that makes me want to pick a Huddersfield player. Is it this guy? Must be this guy. Again, a bit of a rotation risk though. But 4.5 million striker is very, very rare in the game, to be fair. If you have no intention of him ever playing, then that could be an option for you. Amir Hajar, I transferred Salah out and then brought him back in. If I look at my team, is there anyone that I've had from the beginning? feel like I'm... No, I had Lukaku to begin with. Or did I have Lukaku and Kane? I might have had Kane the entire time. I think Tom Carroll has been in my side the entire time. Salah went and then I brought him back in. But I think literally you're looking at Kane and Carroll as the only two I've had for the entirety of the game so far. Real DMC had a bad game week. He's done some drastic transfers. Took a -8. -8 is a big hit, to be fair. Byrie Beckford brought in Ziegler. Again, this is people jumping on transfers very, very quickly. I would never risk bringing someone in just with 1 or 2 good performances. But hopefully that works out for you bringing in Cabaselli. Thomas McCarthy... Oh, he retracted a message. I have no idea what the last message said. Manish Fappa would like to know who's used their wildcard. So if you haven't used your wildcard yet, let us know in the chat, because I think most of us have. Do I take Daniels out for Kenny? You can do. That would definitely free up some funds for elsewhere. I would not bring in Lindelof, but Jones is a great shout to bring in. Lukaku did well against City, got 2 assists. I don't like Lukaku. I'm sorry, guys. Just there's always going to be part of me that just thinks he's not consistent enough. Says the guy that captained Harry Kane for ages. Tadic has always been one of those players that has looked like he should have a really good season and then never keeps it up. So again, Tadic is one I'm very wary of. Am I thinking about changing Abraham? Byrie Beckford, I've been thinking about changing Abraham for ages. But then I've made transfers elsewhere. For instance, me and Ramsey having a risk of not playing means I'll probably make a transfer somewhere else. So, yeah. I want to change him, but I keep seeing other transfers that need to be made sooner. Who should you replace Cook for? If that's a defender, Cook. As far as defence goes, I'm assuming you need someone 5 million or lower. Phil Jones, if you can afford him, would be a good shout. Everton defenders definitely looking like a good shout right now. Their fixtures are good, and they've got a manager in that's probably going to make them better defensively. Abraham or Morata, I'd definitely say Morata, but that's a massive price difference, so it really depends what your team needs there, Ralph Papino. Manish Fappa made a mistake of getting Morata for Kane. That's a mistake for 1 game week, but you've got to remember this is a 38 game week game. So just because in 1 game week a transfer doesn't work out, if in the long run it works out, then it doesn't matter for 1 game week. As far as JP43's team, do I think it's good? Pope, Elliott, Jones, Maguire, Christensen and Bemba, Mariappa, Hazard, Sterling, Richarlison, Loftus-Cheek, Salah, Morata, Kane, Calvert-Lewin. I like it. Calvert-Lewin, I'm still iffy about personally. And Bemba could be changed. And then, of course, Elliott is a problem at the moment. But otherwise, the team looks good. Ahmed Hassan's got Pogba, Sterling, Hazard, Salah and Ramsey in the midfield. That's a very good midfield, but Pogba and Ramsey, of course, game time, not going to be getting game time at the moment. Ramsey is a risk of that, but Pogba is out until his suspension is served. TV Football Analysis out of 50. Dom Stimfing is second in my head-to-head league. Yeah, if it was a classic league, it'd be about 20th. That happens sometimes. Right now, I'd say Salah is more important than a player like Jamie Vardy. So, Amir Hajar, I would say if you need to change Vardy for a cheaper striker just to get Salah in, then I would do it. Still above 60 people viewing right now, guys. Thank you so much for everyone that has joined the stream recently. Tintus95. Hi, who would you start? Cabaselli or Grosh or RFC? Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I'm assuming that is, but that would be RLC. Hopefully I've got that right. I would start Grosh. I think he's the best player. I know other players have had better game weeks, but that's the way I see it. Richard Kelly, I'm tempted to play 4-5-1 with Kane up front. If you have the players in the right position, I would definitely consider it. If you've got 4 good defenders and 5 good midfielders, then why not? Because the points seem to be in midfield and in defence. Fantasway Premier League is here. How are you doing, Fantasway? Hope you are good. Daniels and Richarlison out for Otamendi and Gray from Fantasway Premier League. I'm still keeping faith with Richarlison for a little bit longer, but Otamendi in for Daniels is a good move. Thoughts on Calvert-Lewin as a budget striker? I personally think he won't keep up his current return. I know he's a very popular option amongst everyone right now, but if we actually look, in the last 6 game weeks, he has scored 2 goals, which is a decent return. I believe he's also got 2 assists. He's had 7 attempts. Now, to put that in perspective, Wilfred Bonney at 5.7 million has had 13 attempts. Inside the box, Calvert-Lewin has had 4 attempts, 7 attempts from Wilfred Bonney. You've then got big chances. Calvert-Lewin's had 2 big chances. He scored both of them, but there are players around his price tag who have had more big chances, like Callum Wilson with 4. You've also got Dwight Gale's had 2 big chances. Charlie Austin at 6.1 million has had 5 big chances. So minutes per chance also, he's quite low. 61 minutes per chance. Nearly every striker around him who's been scoring goals recently has got a better minutes per chance. His shot accuracy has been at 71.4%. That's not really attainable unless you're a seriously world-class player. So, just to put it in perspective, like world-class strikers right now are around the 40 to 50 mark. Lacazette, 53.3% shot accuracy. Morata, 40.9. Kane, 33.3. So, it's very unlikely he's going to keep up 71.4% shot accuracy. And his goal conversion is currently at 28.6, but that's because he hasn't had as many chances as a lot of these other guys. So I don't think he'll continue to score the way he has been. Jeff Holt's cup opponent is ranked 2.7 million. Mine's ranked a lot worse than that. So I'm very lucky with who I got in the cup. Got Elliot and Sprone as my goalkeepers. Elliot going down tonight, I believe, so I'd lose 0.1 million on him. Is Adrian a good replacement? Good fixtures, defensively better on the Moyes and double game week coming up. Adrian has looked good, but I remember before Hart came in, Adrian was very worrying to watch. So I'm not sure if Adrian is a great replacement. I'm a bit worried about Elliot's price dropping though. Will Aguero have game time against Swansea? It's Pep Guardiola, Bakary. Who knows? But I think he will. But I've spent a lot of time this season trying to guess what Pep's going to do, and most of the time I've been wrong. Which budget striker is in form? I haven't seen many people mention him, but I've been noticing Wilfred Bonney has been quietly scoring goals without getting much hype for it. In the last 4 game weeks, Rooney has scored 4. Great budget choice. I know 7.3 isn't a necessary budget. Charlie Austin has scored 4. Dwight Gale has scored 3. And then you've got Bonney who's scored 2. As far as attempts go, the best one for attempts on goal that's cheap budget is probably Charlie Austin, who's had 13 attempts. There are players with more chances, but they haven't been scoring. So Rodriguez and Benteke have had more chances, but they've not been scoring, whereas Austin has been. As far as chances inside the box, again, Austin is probably your best bet. So it's looking like Austin's really winning the battle of budget strikers at the moment. Big chances, Charlie Austin again is the only one to hit that 5 in the same company as Aguero and Kane. As far as shots on target, again, Charlie Austin has got 6. Only person cheap around him is the likes of Rodriguez and Benteke, who haven't actually put any of their chances away. So I'd say right now, Charlie Austin is the best budget striker. TP, if you get knocked out of the cup this round, can we decide a punishment for you? By the way, thank you so much for Kadij Bakash. He's just joined the flock. Thank you for subscribing and joining the stream, my friend. Can we get some birds in the chat for the new subscriber today, Kadij Bakash? I hopefully I said that right. As far as the punishment, it depends what you guys say. I'm not just going to do any punishment, but if I do get knocked out against that opponent, I reckon I probably should do some sort of punishment. Do I think Mustafi will play? Thigh injury at the moment. He's certainly not available for Sunday. There's a little chance he's coming back for West Ham. So he might come back. 25% status right now. It doesn't look likely though. So I don't think Mustafi will play. Ramsey replacement below 7 million. I would still consider players like Richarlison because the fixtures are good. And I think Richarlison will return eventually. Other than that, anyone with really good fixtures? I wouldn't say there's any Everton player that really stands out, but Everton have Newcastle and Swansea next. You've got Stoke with Burnley and West Ham and West Bromwich Albion and Huddersfield. So Shaqiri could be a choice there. Leicester, Damari Gray has been mentioned a few times. They've got Southampton and Palace in the next two. You've got Palace if Zaha can get some good form. Watford, Leicester and Swansea in the next three. So those are the players I kind of look at as a short-term fill-in for someone like Ramsey. Gordon Gilbody's putting the armband on Coutinho. Other options are Morata, Vardy, Salah, Sane, Sterling or Richarlison. To be honest, with the rotation being such a worry, I'm not sure who the best choice is. The reason I'm going Kane is because I'm pretty confident he'll play. Lukaku 2 assists, stroke clean, went over. What am I missing out on here? Did Lukaku get 2 assists for the Man City goals? Because yes, I didn't watch the game. I was at work and then I went to a party. So yes, it could very well have gone over my head. I have not seen any of the games this weekend because I was working. Okay, so he lashed at a clearance which allowed Otamendi to score. So yeah, apparently Lukaku was awful. So yes, it did go straight over my head. I apologise. There's a reason I've got BBC Sports ready up. But yeah, I've not seen the game, so that went way over my head. Best mid under 7 million. Kind of just looked at that when I was answering the Ramsey question. I also believe Bakary Gray is a rotation risk. Replacement for Niasse, 0.1 million. Niasse is very cheap though, isn't he? So I'm not sure who you could really bring in for Niasse. Niasse is 5 million. So you want a striker that's 5 million. That's not going to leave you many options. You've got, if it has to be the same price, you've got Ayew at Swansea. You've got Crouch. I mean, I would ideally be spending a little bit more because I don't have faith in any name I'm seeing there to do really well. Should I get Lanzini for Pascal? If you think West Ham are going to keep improving, then yes, but I wouldn't rush into that move, Manish. Tiger Rage, best long-term goalkeeper under 4.8. Best. I mean, is Fabianski still under? Because he's going to be nailed on. And he's 4.6. Yeah. I'd say Fabianski because he's had some really great performances. I believe against Spurs he got 11 points, yeah. And Bournemouth he got 9 points. He gets saves. And the more saves he gets, like this Chelsea game, he got 9 saves. Now, again, they lost. But he still got 5 points. Because of the amount of saves he got. So Fabianski for me is the best budget keeper in the game right now. Now watching this stream from a 4th different device. What, in one stream? Why do you keep changing device? I'm playing 3-5-2 from Gordon Gilbody. If a midfielder gets rotated as a defender or attacking player take his place, that completely depends on who you've put in the number 1 spot. If you put someone in the number 1 spot, then they will come on for your midfielder. Jeff Holt, maybe that's a bit over the top. 63 on the stream, like, subscribe, open your window, scream out in the cold night air, the flock rocks. Jerome Hughes, the reason why it said that at the bottom of the screen is I was testing out my Streamlabs settings to see if that worked. So basically I was testing if sponsors, subscribers and everything works before the stream, and it just stuck on the screen. Another Hoops is off. See you later, mate. Is Javier Hernandez a choice again? If he gets consistent first team starts, then yes, he is. Jordan, Kate, Beckinsale, Kelly Brook, Nigella Lawson. What? Oh, did I say birds in the chat? Jeff, sometimes you're too quick for me. Do a live stream drunk as a punishment while watching the Hereford versus Fleetwood game on BT Sports on Thursday. I mean, I've done plenty of streams drunk, so I'm not sure that's a punishment while watching Hereford versus Fleetwood. I wouldn't even call that a punishment. I'm getting to watch football and drink. Why is that a punishment? Yes, Jeff, I figured that out. It took me a while to figure it out, but yeah. Who to transfer in for Chupo Moting? 5.9 million max. Chupo's still a midfielder. What do I mean still? It's not going to change, is he? So, like I said, I keep saying Sermon. I mean, Ashley Young is returning points every now and again, so I do like Ashley Young, even though he is playing as the defence. Lingard, we've mentioned, if he can keep starting. Goodmanson gets points every now and again, and is very, very cheap. Damari Gray is someone a lot of people are considering, but we'll see if he continues to play. That game there against Spurs, and him not playing, is the only thing that really worries me about Gray. Kadish Bakash, thank you for the welcome. I appreciate all the advice. No problem, mate. That's what I'm here for. Hey, what do you think if I took Ramsey out and got Mahrez? Mahrez is looking very good at the moment, so potentially Mahrez would be a good move for Ramsey. But yeah, I'd agree with Amit Patel. Son right now looks very, very good underlying stats-wise. Amir Hajar, I play a person that is ranked 599th in the world. Wow, that's a difficult opponent. TP, if they did that, then it would be a lot more important to get the bigger players in, wouldn't it? But that is something I don't think would hurt the game. Chaos saying Salah won African Footballer of the Year. I saw that. If he continues on this form, next season he's going to be ridiculously expensive. Reason Hereford game is a punishment is because you're going to have to stream for at least 2 hours extra time and penalties. I think watching penalties on stream would be fun though. Bakary, I'm thinking of replacing Francis for John Joe Kenny because of the fixtures. I would go with that. Probably saves you a bit of money as well. Do you think Juve at Stoke is a good option to replace Abraham? I think right now, easily is a better option, Barry Beckford, than Abraham. Although Abraham did get an assist, I haven't seen much from him recently. Jeff Holt heading off to sleep. Cheers, thank you for coming on. Kane makes us happy. Jeff, thank you so much for joining the stream. I'm probably going to bed now because I've just caught up with the chat. And to be honest, I'm still hungover. That's how much I drank yesterday. So, thank you, Jeff. And we'll call it there. So, thank you guys so much for joining the stream today. We got all the way up to the heights of 60 people viewing, which is fantastic. If you want to support the stream in any way, there is the sponsor button you can hit, which means you sponsor the channel, along with Blessing Arolo, who is my only sponsor at the moment. But, you know, hopefully we'll get a few more sponsors at some point. Also, various other links in the description, as well as my new merchandise if you want to get that. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.